Welcome back to Fox Footy Live. We're going to reconnect with Todd Goldstein. Todd, thanks for hanging on. How have you pulled up from the shorter quarters on the weekend? Are you a fan of them? Would you like them to stay long term?
I like the idea of them in theory, but when you lose three players in 2 and a bit quarters, it was still pretty tough going for a lot of us with the low rotation. So, look, I think it's a hard one for our footy club to judge, but I really think there's some merit, especially if we're going to try and cram some games in shorter periods of time later on in the season.
What about long term, though, mate?
Oh, look, once you get over 30, Brownie, you're pretty happy to do anything that will extend your career. So if they can get me another few extra years, I'll be on board for sure.
Big day yesterday for the AFL, for the wider AFL community, obviously, Goldie, and the players were approached about the pay situation, and it was reported last night that the players are going to be taking a 50% cut over the next 2 months and then reassessing. How was that all communicated to you as a player?
Yeah, look, I wasn't obviously involved directly in the conversations, but we were all notified of that last night, and we understand that the industry and our footy clubs are really hurting at the moment, and it's been quite emotional 24 hours, seeing a lot of, pretty much family members losing their jobs for the next few months until footy's back. So, we're obviously really committed to doing what we can to help the game and the industry survive, and look, we've all got to play our part.
Do you think the players have particularly young players? You're a father, you're a senior player, you've been around a long time. Do you think younger players that, we live a very sheltered life when you're a part of an AFL community. Do you think the younger players have a real grasp on what this really means?
Oh, I don't know if they have, but I think they're starting to get a fair grasp of it now. I think you don't realise until the things you love get taken away from you. I think that's when you realise just how dire and how serious this is. And I think a lot of them will be back at home with their families and just realising that they can't take this, what we do, for granted, because it can quickly change.
Can I just ask you go, Jonesy?
No, you go.
Can I just ask you something that happened out of the games? Goal kicking has gone up by about 10%. Now, I noticed that you kicked 1 goal straight. Can you just take us through that goal? I can't remember if it was a set shot or not. And the feeling, it was a set shot?
Yeah, it was definitely a set shot, yeah.
What did it feel like with no crowd compared to a big crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make some arguments that it does feel a lot like training session with no one really there. There's usually about 40-odd blokes out on the field when you're doing your goal kicking practice at training. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit in that. And obviously there's probably, mine was in the first half, so probably a little bit less fatigue as well. But look, I think there's got to be some fact that that would make it a little bit easier, because as we all know, when the pressure's on, everything becomes a lot harder.
Just quickly, I asked you before I knocked the power out. What happened at half time? What did Reece Shaw do? He seems to have overhauled the game style, especially offensively, and it just changed the game completely for you guys.
Well, I think first of all we had to give credit to the way the Saints were playing and were pressuring us. I think their pressure numbers were through the roof in that first half, but we also understood that we couldn't have played much worse in terms of how we were fumbling the footy and just executing offensively. So I think we felt like if we could just clean up our skills and just be a bit cleaner with the footy and not cut out those fumbles, that we were going to be able to bring their pressure number down and allow us to attack them and conversely pressure them. So that was the difference in the halves, and I think it showed once we were pretty clean that second half and really responded.
So no spray at half time?
No, it wasn't a spray. It wasn't a spray. You could tell he wasn't overly happy with how we went about it. But
there's something there.
It was. I think it was. No,
oh yeah.
No, I think it was. I think it was just more that I think we all knew we played a terrible half and that we didn't perform. So I don't think Shorey particularly needed to tell us too much. It was just more that we give us that belief that if we turned it around, we could still win the game, and that was what the coach has been really good at doing for us.
Come on, Goldie. You're not going to see the coach for 10 weeks. You don't have to be scared of him right now, mate. Just one before we let you go. I'm just interested in your take as an experienced senior player. What do you think football clubs might look like when the water recedes and we're back on some sort of normality? Because a lot of talk about things are going to have to change and it's almost inevitable that they will. What do you think football clubs might look like in terms of the number of people, the way they operate? What's your take?
Yeah, look, it is one of those great unknowns with not knowing how long we're going to be off for and just what everything's going to look like. I think there will be an adjustment period. There has to be an adjustment period, I guess. We're not going to, once they give us the green light to go back, we're not suddenly going to have all this money that we don't have now. So I think we are going to have to learn to function with less numbers. But how that looks, I think it is still way too early to tell. And until we know exactly how long we're going to be off and you know how long the whole society is going to be shut down, I think that's going to play a big part in it.
And sorry, mate, and so less numbers and less money, do you think that's something the players are prepared for in the future?
Oh, well, I think this year that, you know, for the remainder of what we have left of the season, we all know that there's going to be changes, and what that looks like next year depends on, I think, a lot to do with how much football we play this year.
Todd, thanks.
What am I?
Todd, thanks so much. Keep safe, keep healthy, and enjoy this time with your family. We will chat to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate
Stay
it.
safe, mate.
Good stuff.
It's interesting, though, big changes in the game, Sarah.
Well, the game can only play the players what it can afford to play the players.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
basic math. If we earn billions of dollars, absolutely pay the best player millions. But if we can't afford it, and let's face it, what else are these guys going to do? They can walk away from football
That's
and go
right.
and get a real